PolyCast, the videocast from Polytec. Werner and Jörg Sauer discuss why vibrations in the micro range are also relevant for large components and how they are measured with VibroScan and the microscopic extension.
Hi Jörg, it's great to have you here.
Hi Andre, thanks for having me.
Sure. Today we want to talk a bit about the microscopic extension, although the focus is more from macro to micro. In vibrometry, we often talk about measuring vibrations and think more on a larger scale, like larger surfaces or larger assemblies. But sometimes it's also necessary to go into detail. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
That's really a key question in many applications. Macroscopic measurements with scanning vibrometry are now standard in the industry for validating models. This VibroScan QTech technology works wonderfully there, especially for large surfaces, because it's very low noise, even at great distances, on rough surfaces and so on. But of course, the question is, where is the money being made today? Yes, automotive still makes a lot of money, but the real heavy hitters are smartphones, consumer electronics, and the like. And there we always have highly integrated components. And when disruptive vibrations occur, because customers are very critical and pay a lot of money, I have to see where they come from. And often the cause lies deeper in the details, meaning there's an actuator on it, or a capacitor on a circuit board, or a camera focus setting, for example, the motor, the piezo, causing some vibrations that are, for instance, audible. So I have to somehow look deep into the details. And that affects many areas. Smartphones are one example. Medical technology is also a very important point. There, it's more about reliability. But also in the automotive sector, when I have control units. Control units are also highly integrated with power components that also cause vibrations, especially capacitors and coils. And these can also lead to disruptive noises occurring. And then I really have to look into the details to see where it's coming from. It can go down to a small bond wire of a few micrometers that eventually fails and the device is defective.
That means we look at the vibration on a large scale, or we can look at it on a large scale. Sometimes you really have to go deep into detail to identify the cause. For that, we have the option to go deep with the close-up unit and the microscopic extension. Can you outline a bit more clearly what happens there?
It's actually a pretty good summary, you know.
Yeah.
As a measurement technician, you naturally try to make your work easy. Well, and as a company, of course, you always want to keep investment costs low. That means you try to cover everything with a single measuring device, if possible. That is always a bit difficult. With conventional scanning vibrometry, I often reach physical limits. I just can't get into the depth of detail. I'm not precise enough in scanning and so on. And so, together with our customers, we've been thinking for a while now how we could actually improve. The close-up unit is basically an attachment, an optical attachment that keeps the camera and scanner coaxial so that I don't have parallax errors even at short measuring distances. That already gets you into the millimeter range. So if let's take an example, I have some kind of pressure sensor or something like that, which has a membrane of a few square millimeters, I can still scan that. That's still possible. But if it goes a bit deeper than that, then I have to think about how to go further. And now without a system break, meaning if I had to use a new measuring device because I'm going into more detail, that usually means a different data format. I have to learn it all over again. I have to train someone for it. I need space to set the thing up, quite simply. I might then need some kind of vibration isolated table for it. That's exactly what we want to prevent with this microscope extension. This means that the user is now given the opportunity to go a very decisive step deeper. And not just to increase the zoom level, but actually to get better properties with it.
You are the product manager of the entire system. And now you've told me, I think, that we have the great advantage with VibroScan, that we also have a very small, I think you said there are 3 levers for us to be able to dive into this level of detail at all. I think it was the spot size, coaxial system, I'm going out on a limb here, and then the lens.
Exactly.
Can you say something more about what these levers are that allow us to do this at all?
Yes, I'd be happy to explain that. So technically, on the one hand, you need, in the end, you want to have a small spot. You have to be able to position it precisely. For that, I first need a small spot as a basic requirement. Optically or technically, I have to do 2 things. I have to have the right wavelength, The VibroScan QTech is available with two different wavelengths, an infrared wavelength, and then there's a pilot laser that you see in green. You have to know where you want to measure. And there is also one with a so-called helium neon laser, which is red. It has a wavelength of 633 nanometers. That's red, as I said. And you can focus it really well. That's the so-called VibroScan QTech Neo. You can focus it very well if you have the appropriate front optics. So that's one thing. The front optics is the microscope lens, which then allows me spot sizes at 10 times magnification down to about 2 micrometers. Additionally, I also need to be able to position very precisely, as you just mentioned. And for that, I need very precise scanners. The VibroScan already comes with those. It goes down to under a 1,000th of a degree. So it's a few 10,000ths of a degree, to be precise. And that allows me, I have a limited field of view, or I see the details very clearly, and can also position very precisely on these details. So if I have 2 micrometers, I naturally want to make a 2 micrometer component, and 2 micrometer, ideally smaller steps than 2 micrometers, and that's what the overall system provides, consisting of the VibroScan QTech Neo, the close-up unit, and the microscope extension together with the microscope objectives, which can then be changed.
Okay, so inherently, VibroScan itself has the capability through the helium neon laser and let's say these, I think you called them scanners. So the aiming and the accessory then makes it possible, so to speak, to switch it on optically via the zoom factor.
Right.
This now gives me the opportunity, as we said at the beginning, to get to the root cause. So I really want to analyze the exact spot where I think something is happening. What do people do who don't have such a system, who don't have a VibroScan, but want to go into the same depth that we can offer? What do they do?
I'd be happy to tell you. I have to briefly touch on the accessory again, because for me it's actually, I know it's always a matter of definition. For me it's not really an accessory, but rather a real expansion of the possibilities to go in with the same measurement system. Of course, I'm just screwing something on in front, but it really opens up a completely new world for me.
Almost like new?
Almost like a new product indeed. So we also have, as I said, customers who buy it as a set because that's exactly what they want.
They need it, okay.
And of course, to bring that brief excursion to a close, your question was actually a different one, namely, what else do I do? Well, there are, of course, dedicated microscope systems.
Our MSA.
For example, the Microsystem Analyzer MSA, which is also available in various versions. I use that, of course. It has special properties. Namely, it comes with special optics. It's simply designed to achieve very small spot sizes. With the optics, I can get well below 1 micrometer. So I really get into MEMS, so nanomicroscopic mechanical systems. And I also get into the range of very high frequencies, where I then also need very high spatial resolutions, so into the high gigahertz range as well. Everything is really tuned to that. The scanners there are orders of magnitude more precise. The optics are designed differently. There's also a different wavelength. Green is used for that. It's really designed for that. These are great systems. If I'm dealing exclusively with MEMS and bulk acoustic waves and similar things, then they're great. But I can only do that. That's the setting. If I have the smartphone under it, then I only see that tiny part of the smartphone, but I don't see where or how the thing itself vibrates. If there's a capacitor on a circuit board that causes the whole board to vibrate, then I have to, let's say, see the 12 centimeter circuit board in its entirety somehow, because that's what creates the an acoustic effect. That's what makes the humming. It's not the capacitor. I don't hear that at all. I only hear the resulting effect. And this connection, I just can't find that out with an MSA system. I'd need a second system for that. And if I stay exactly within this problem class, saying I want to find the cause and not develop a new MEMS, then I'm one step ahead again.
Okay, let me try to repeat that. That was a lot of information.
Sorry.
It's all good. If I want to get to the cause, if I really want to go down to the microscopic level, right, then as mentioned, with the system and the extension, we offer the possibility to go down selectively, to summarize, to go down selectively. And maybe that one look at that one spot is already enough, let's say, to identify the cause and answer my question. If I don't have that, the other step would actually be to switch to a completely different system. Either I buy it, or we also offer contractual measurements, right, where we do the measurement, but I'd have to switch to another system. Exactly. That's the big advantage. Why you also said before, basically it's almost like a new product that we're offering with this extension, because I can then enter this microscopic cosmos, so to speak.
You stay, of course, that's the advantage. You stay in the same workflow with the microsystem analyzer because the same software is used there too.
Software.
Exactly. That means you don't have to treat the data differently in post-processing when I go into curve fitting, when I have to do my FE validation, but can transfer them directly with the corresponding open interfaces that are available in both. The microsystem analyzer also has, of course, because it was built specifically for MEMS development, automation options included so that I can use it on probers, characterize entire wafers with it, and so on. Those are possibilities that I would theoretically also have in VibroScan because the interfaces are there too, but I just have a customer base there that picks exactly that application, looks for for example, small things like a clean room test. Yeah, we offer that as standard for the MSA. With VibroScan, you probably could too. I've never thought about it because it's just not the area of application for that system.
Okay, that means, as I said, with the VibroScan, we have the possibility, or we give people who think more in terms of assemblies, the possibility to zoom down or zoom in on individual spots. And the MSA is for those who, so to speak, spend all of their time in the microcosm, working on wafers in the MEMS field. That is exactly where the MSA is actually positioned.
That's the perfect summary. Yes, exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Do you perhaps have an example where a customer, let's say we've been using the microscopic extension for a while now, where a customer or we ourselves did an analysis where we went down from the assembly level? Some anecdote off the top of your head.
Yes, well, smartphones aren't just anecdotal anymore. That's simply a problem where the whole thing comes from the idea that maybe the problem is you have a thin membrane, for example, from a MEMS microphone, and I have some kind of coupling between the circuit board, the microphone, and the MEMS microphone, and I want to investigate how the sound propagates there. It's not actually supposed to travel from the speaker to the microphone. They should be acoustically separated. And there I can see the wave propagation and see how it actually affects the membrane directly in the experiment. So I bring in, for example, turn on the speaker and see what arrives at the membrane in terms of structure-borne noise, isolated, so to speak, from the actual acoustic wave. Now the problem is the membrane is only a few micrometers away from the actual substrate it's mounted on. Now if I use a close-up unit, then I have a certain depth of field. And that is too large. That means I also get back reflections from the substrate. So I get a mixed signal and can't really distinguish these membranes from each other so precisely anymore. Now, if I use a microscope system that use microscope objectives, then I have a very high numerical aperture. That means I get a significantly shallower depth of field. And with that, in addition to the small spot that I want anyway, I also get a very precise focus on the actual structure in depth. Not in position, but in depth. And that is exactly the decisive advantage. I can't do that quite so easily otherwise. Without these microscope optics, it's not possible. Without the high numerical aperture, it doesn't work physically or optically. And that's actually really a good point, that has helped us at this point and above all, helped the customer, helped the user to really solve the problem. That's the day-to-day business. But of course, besides the bread and butter business, so to speak, we also always have our nice anecdotes. I always say we measure everything from elephants to fly legs, or our users do. And one nice story was actually once in biological research, we actually had to measure the vibration of a bee's feeler, the antenna of a bee. And that's quite tricky because those things are only a few micrometers thick. But you want to measure the entire vibration pattern, and you naturally want to measure the overall structure as well. It's like with bees, they communicate via vibrations in the hive, in the beehive, when they drum on the honeycomb to tell their sisters where to find nice blossoms. So it's not just the waggle dance, which we all learned about in school, but it's actually also a transmission via vibration through the honeycomb. I want to measure that. Macroscopically, of course, those are centimeters. But then I also want to know what exactly reaches the fly's antenna and the little leg. And then I have to go down to, and that's a bit of a more exotic example, where these two worlds, let's say meso, meaning medium-sized structures, and micro come together. And for that, it's naturally perfect.
One question that just occurred to me, since we already differentiate ourselves in our portfolio with QTech, does QTech offer an inherent advantage for our system in this overall setup as well?
Certainly, that's a very good question. Certainly not to the same extent as with industrial applications on a macroscopic scale, where I really have rough surfaces as a standard. So rough means optically rough. Any plastic, every cast part is somehow rough for a laser and causes speckles, which you can read about in the technical section on our website. And then watch a nice video about it. That's where QTech with its multi-channel detection is really perfect for removing all those effects and getting a good signal-to-noise ratio. In the small-scale range with the MSA systems, for example, there is no QTech, and there's a good reason for that, because you're always measuring on reflective and optically smooth surfaces. So MEMS are classically made of silicon.
Because you're in such an extreme spot, in such a...
That means there, I don't need it. I don't have any speckles there, so I don't need QTech. The MSA is one technology, the VibroScan QTech, especially the NEO. The NEO is the only system that can perform this multi-channel detection in the visible range as well. I can really see the advantage there because I'm working with materials that aren't necessarily always optically smooth. A capacitor is a mix of materials like plastic and metal. That will lead to speckles, which means the signal-to-noise ratio will decrease. With QTech, it stays high, meaning I have to do less averaging and I also get more light back. Especially from dark surfaces, ceramics, piezoceramics, often dark. Plastics on camera modules, they have to be black because you don't want any reflections there. So always dark plastic. There, QTech actually brings advantages even in the micro range. The effect isn't weakened by the microscope lenses, it stays the same.
The surface itself is cleaner, if I may say so, when you're in the microscopic range.
Yes.
That means QTech brings even more in the macroscopic range. But we still notice slight advantages in the microscopic range as well.
Absolutely, and above all, you don't have to worry. That means you can just use it on any material that comes under the lens, and with these described problems, that can be anything. With the B, it's especially important because the honeycomb, in turn, isn't optically smooth, it's rough. There I need it again. QTech to really get a good signal, the best signal-to-noise ratio. Okay, but good question. I'd never really thought about it exactly like that. But it's important to think about it once more. For me, it's so self-evident that that multi-channeling detection is there, and that's not possible like with conventional vibrometers. But of course, you're also a bit caught up in your own world.
Yes, you sometimes forget all the advantages you actually have because they're just standard for us, right? But compared to competitors who don't have that, it's obviously a clear differentiation.
Yes.
Yes, Jörg, then thank you very much. From the bee to the elephant to electronics, we had everything covered. Thanks also for the technical explanations. You really went into great detail. So I hope there was a little something for everyone.
Thank you. I enjoyed it very much. I'd love to come back.
Until next time.
Thank you.
Polytec. Measure what matters.